back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Yo, God, the thing goes skitty kid pop pop, and the poop poop boom.
Holy flying flipping flapjacks, Chris Cyborg is letting that thing go scrat at Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey. Ooh, hey, I mean, I didn't expect to see all of this when I clicked on this article, I'll tell you this much, but she said Conor McGregor has never fought one tough fight. Like, at first, I see where people are coming with some of the criticisms with the Ronda Rouseys and the Conor McGregors. Like, I see where Chris Cyborg's base of her argument's coming from, but when she says Conor McGregor has never fought one tough guy, I gotta say, come on, that's a little too far. But I'll read what Chris Cyborg had to say, and then I'll tell you what I think about it afterwards and what of this whole situation. She said, I think that you see already Ronda Rousey. Everybody thinks she's the best fighter ever, pound for pound. And then you see when she fights a real fighter, she has a hard time. And then maybe McGregor. He's never seen fighting one guy who's tough. I would like to see him fight Jacare and fight Khabib. And, man, okay, I'm gonna reread this. And I gotta say, for one, they translated this into broken English. You know, Chris Cyborg, she speaks English, but it's a little broken, so that's why it sounds a little off when I'm reading it. But she said Jacare, my nigga. She just said Jacare. This nigga's at a Jacare's 185 pounds. What are you talking about? Conor McGregor fight Jacare, bro. I hope these people ain't mistranslating her speech, but this is on. Let me see where I got this fucking article from real quick, because this sounds crazy to me, bro. What's going on? I know I got the Luke Thomas live chat up. Where was this from? Okay, this was from MMA Imports. Okay, so it says, in an interview with the Dominic Natty show. So if you want to see this full article, make sure you go, or her interview, go check out the Dominic Natty show. Now, with that being said, she said she wants to see Conor McGregor in there with a Jacare. Now, I understand Khabib, but Jacare's 185-pound grappling, the alligator. You know what he would fucking do to Conor McGregor, dog? Come on, don't throw him in. Come on, Chris, don't throw him in there with Jacare. All right, now, but let's get back into what Cyborg was saying. Essentially, though, she's saying she wants to see Conor McGregor in there with the fucking killer. She don't want to see him in there with somebody he thinks he can beat. But let's continue. She said, I would like to see him fight Jacare and fight Khabib. And McGregor has a big name, but you don't know. We don't see him in real fights with tough guys in MMA. So in that first paragraph, for one, she said he's never seen fighting one guy who's tough. And what I take that as, she's saying he's never fought one tough guy. And I'm like, what? What is Eddie Alvarez? What is Chad Mendez? I mean, Nate Diaz might not be the fucking champion of the division, but Nate Diaz is a tough guy. I mean, so Conor McGregor's definitely fought tough guys. I mean, Jose Aldo, is he not a tough guy? You know what I'm saying? What do you mean he's never fought a tough guy? She said we don't see him in real fights. Are none of those real fights? That's why I say it's a little too far. Like, I understand what you're saying. Maybe you should have said like a tough grappler. You know, a Khabib Nurmagomedov or a Frankie Edgar or something like that. But I don't know. I just don't really agree with everything in that paragraph. But I do see where she's trying to come from. And then the Jacare thing also threw me off. But now let's get into the next paragraph. I don't like it when you just put everything in the sport on just two people, because when they lose, the people get no interesting. You need to promote all the fighters, like promote women's MMA, not only the face Ronda Rousey. You can do this because now she retires, now people are interested in only her, and you have to promote all the girls. All the girls make the sport great. Same thing with McGregor. All the guys make up men's MMA, but they just push the face. Ronda retires or no retires. She takes a break. McGregor only wants to come back when he can win, and this is not helping the sport growing. So I understand what she's saying, and it might have been a little hard to understand for some of you guys, but she's just saying the UFC puts all their stock into Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor, and she's saying they're not tough fighters. They don't fight real fights. And so putting all of your eggs into those baskets is bad for the sport, is essentially what she's saying. And I get it, but at the same time, I've got to interject with, and with the Ronda Rousey, I mean, when Ronda Rousey was coming up, and I've heard this argument from Chael Sonnen, and I listened to the podcast, and he said he's had this same sentiment about Ronda Rousey. And honestly, before Ronda Rousey was a megastar, I didn't know much about her either. I didn't watch Ronda Rousey in Strikeforce and shit like that. But Chael Sonnen has said just the truth of the matter is, when Ronda Rousey was dominating these girls, it's kind of like Chris Cyborg is saying, that they weren't on her level. And when she got in there with Holly Holm or an Amanda Nunes, chicks that were on her level, we saw what happened. And now she's kind of left the sport. And another thing Chris Cyborg was talking about is, in the lead up to Ronda Rousey's last fight, the UFC put a lot of the emphasis on she's back, Ronda Rousey's back. There wasn't a lot of promotion toward Amanda Nunes like Joe Rogan spoke about. And so whenever Amanda Nunes wins the fight, people are still kind of like, who the fuck is that girl? Because all the promotion was on Ronda Rousey. So Chris Cyborg is just saying, like, it's a bad idea to, you know, and this is coming from a frustrated fighter, you know what I'm saying? Chris Cyborg not only frustrated with the amount of stardom that the Ronda Rouseys and the Conor McGregors gets, a lot of fighters are frustrated with that, but also Cyborg has been recently frustrated with the way that this whole Amanda Nunes fight's been going on, and the way the UFC has been saying that's the fight to make. Amanda Nunes has been clamoring for the fight, and Chris Cyborg's been taking a little bit of a hit in that, because she's saying, yo, I've got this reason for not wanting the Amanda Nunes fight, and people just aren't really accepting that. But either way, that's a whole nother topic for another day. Chris Cyborg has said that Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey are not essentially real fighters. She said that, and that's the part I don't agree with. Whenever she says Conor McGregor's never fought one tough fight, that's the part I disagree with, but I do see where she's coming from. So with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments about this. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G.